Hi everyone, welcome back. And we have once again very special guest with us, Tameem Saied, who is NLP master, and he's with us second time. And now he's going to talk about more on the strategy point of view and also the autobiography of NLP. So I with lot of in the grade one, the session one extremely went well, and we had take lots of things, and it was very beautiful, fabulous, insightful, thoughtful session. And we also look forward the same session this time also as well. I just wanted to hand over the stage to Tamim sir as such.
Thank you, Abrar. So I'm glad to be back here on the channel. And today, what we'll do is we'll go into the practical aspects of NLP. So what I'm going to be taking is an immersive session where we will understand what our NLP states, and we will do one of the most important exercises called the autobiography exercise. And after that, we will learn about the basic NLP strategies with which we can then take it forward for any kind of learning or any kind of confidence development, self-esteem development, and ultimately for performance improvement, what we call as peak performance. So for all that, today's session is like the foundation, the basics. So it'll be a practical session. So it'll be nice if Abrar and Parvez can also take part by taking notes and giving a feedback on what they got from the exercise. So the first thing wonderful. So to start off any kind of NLP session, you have to understand two things. It's called the NLP associated state and the dissociated state. So the state in NLP has these two names, associated and dissociated. What is an associated state, you may ask? Whenever you're totally into something, where you call it the zone, when you're fully involved, like when you're driving a car, you're fully involved. You feel the steering wheel. Your hand is on the gear. Your focus is on the road. You see the mirror. You know what you're doing every step, right? You are in an associated state. At that time, if someone is going to just touch you and say, hey, what do you know about this movie? Or shall I order this pizza? You will feel a little bit irritated because your focus is totally on driving, right? So that's an associated state. And when a person is in an associated state, they are fully immersed in the experience. They get to know every little detail of the experience. And after that, even our memories store that experience in such a way, in a total associated way. And when you recall an associated event, you get the same feel as if you're actually doing it. Another example, if you're in a favorite restaurant and you order your favorite dish, you start smelling it, you start feeling the texture, and you start enjoying the taste. You are in an associated state. You're enjoying the meal to the fullest. Now, the opposite of that is the dissociated state. In the dissociated state, you are an observer. You are seeing what another person is experiencing. You are seeing what another person is feeling. So when you are watching a movie, for example, you are in a dissociated state, unless you love the movie so much that you feel you're part of it. Then you become an associate, right? So what will be the advantage of associated and dissociated? Everything has an advantage. The associated state keeps you in full control of the experience and gives you the experience to the fullest. Whereas the dissociated state, it gives you an objective observer perspective, because of which you don't have any feelings related to the event. So a person, he may be in a bit of a stress, for example. The moment they get into a dissociated state from that, and instead of feeling the stress, they start observing themselves as an actor in a play, the stress goes off. This is one of the biggest secrets of stress relief. In fact, in the advanced course for corporates, we teach something called a double dissociation, which is guaranteed to eliminate anybody's stress in just a few minutes. So this is the advantage of the dissociated state. So now, how are we going to use the associated and dissociated state? We will see that in the autobiography exercise, which will also double up to give every individual their value system. So now we are going to see the autobiography exercise, and this is what I expect you to just do it. It will take about 5 minutes. Step one for the autobiography exercises, I want both of you to be in a bit of a relaxed state, like a couple of deep breaths you can just take, just to relax yourself, like as if it's you're relaxing in a beach. Just a couple of deep breaths. That will just relax your state, right? Now, after you're relaxed, I want you to imagine in an associated state, you are sitting in your favorite desk. It can be your office, your home. It can be your classroom where you performed in college. Just imagine you're sitting in your favorite desk. You're feeling the desk. You're feeling the chair. You're feeling the pen and paper. You're feeling good. It's probably a place where you did your best exam or something like that and really clicked. Now, in that state, in that place, I now want you to imagine that the person who loves you the most in this life, whoever it is, you don't even have to share with me whoever it is, but the person who loves you the most is looking at you. And they're looking at you with a lot of affection. They're looking at you with a lot of pride that you've done something great in life. No, that person is looking at you and you're seeing the person look at you. Now, in that frame of mind, I want you to freeze that image where you're seeing the person who loves you look at you in this place. And with that in your mind, please write down the top 5 or 6 or 7 things that this loving person sees in you. You can just write it down in a paper, or you can even type it. What are the top 4, 5, 6 or 7 things that this loving person who you're sure loves you the most is thinking about you right now? Whatever it is, it could be your looks, it could be your spirituality, it could be your honesty, it could be your hard work, but it has to be what you think the loving person is thinking about you. Spend some time, take a minute.
Positive. I think I would like to say a few. I feel positive. I feel relaxed.
Relaxed. You're feeling positive. You're relaxed. You're feeling loved. You're feeling loved because the most loving person is looking at you with that look of love and pride in their eyes. Now, with that state in mind, what are they seeing in you that they like so much? What do they feel proud about? Your achievements. It could be your hard work. It could be how you have made it in life. It could be the decisions that you've taken. So write down a few adjectives which you feel very strongly that the loving person is seeing you. Once you're done, just let me know. I'll tell you the next step.
So Pravesh, you're also doing it, right? So you can keep writing down.
You can just type. You can just type it. You can just type it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wonderful. Once you get 5 or 6, we can stop and move on to the next level.
Yeah. We can type it in the chat, right? In the Zoom chat.
You can, no, you can just type it in the notepad. I mean, you can keep it private. I mean, this is very personal.
Yeah.
You can just share it later on. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
You can even write it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Take your time. Once you get 5 or 6, now we'll have the next person's point of view come in. This is how the autobiography exercise works. First, the most loving person. And Parvez, if you've got 3 or 4 or 5, we can then go to the next. Have you got 3 or 4, all of you, gentlemen? Or 5? The average is about 4. There's no competition. Most people get about 3 or 4 points. Some get 5 or 6. It's fine. It's all totally good. Okay. Excellent. So now, again, you're in that chair, in that seat. You're very happy. You've written the few points that the person who loves, associated state. You're in a state of mind where you're confident and the person who loves you has seen some things in you which you've written down. Now, I want you to think of your classmate who's known you for a long time, a good friend, someone who's seen you grow up. It can even be a cousin. It can be a classmate. It can be a teacher. Can you write 3 or 4 things very positive that they think about you? Again, in your associative state, you think, imagine what your best friend or cousin or teacher thinks about you, which are positive. 3 or 4 things you can just write down. It can be common to what the loved one has also written. No problem at all.
Okay.
They can be exactly the same. Absolutely fine.
Okay.
But let us be objective and get 3 or 4 points from your close friend or someone who's seen a lot of you and who's genuinely concerned for your well-being, caring, etc. Let me share that most people write in this about their classmate, the classmate who's grown up in their 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. Most people choose that.
Yeah.
Once you get 3 or 4 points, we'll go on to the third stage of this, which is the most interesting stage that will wrap up the autobiography.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I like your shares. It's good.
Yeah. So care for that.
Wonderful. Now, once we've got 3 or 4 points, now the third person in the exercise, I want you to think of someone who is like a rival, not an enemy. He's not an enemy, but he's like a powerful rival who's always wanting to compete with you. For example, in cricket, if you have a fast bowler, then you have a great batsman as a rival. They don't hate each other, but when they're competing, they throw their best at each other. They don't care. In that moment, they want to beat each other, right? In boxing, it's Muhammad Ali and George Foreman. They don't hate each other, but when they fight, they just fight like anything. And they respect each other a lot, as we
They
call them
respect the game
grudging
as well. Yeah.
the game and their individual talents. They hate each other for being so good that they are in each other's way, but they don't hate each other like individuals. But
Yeah.
in the field, they want to give their best. And what will such a rival respect in you and think that because you have this, that person is afraid of taking you on? That he knows that because Abrar and Parvez have this, every time I get into a competition with them, I am tensed up because these guys are so good at that. Can you get 2 or 3 or 4 points from a grudging, respectful rival? It can be a rival in sports in college. It can be a rival at your workplace, or it can be a rival relative who's comparing with where you are in life and where they are in life in a respectful way. Some of the greatest insights about us come when we think of what a rival thinks. That's why I'm adding this in the exercise. Even 2 points are enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Oh, that's a great one. That's a great one.
And,
Can catch small is wonderful. Because it's the rival who finds out our biggest strengths and weaknesses, because they want to beat us, right? So
Yes.
they find out our biggest strengths and weakness and they work on overcoming that. So we learn more about ourselves when we objectively look at what the rival thinks of us.
and this is very interesting.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Video and
Okay.
data.
Very good.
Down
Very good.
to yeah. So all of that, I feel like
Brilliant. Brilliant. I've
Yeah.
seen a lot of points here.
Yeah.
So now come out of the visualization and you're now back to our session. You've visualized, you've got all these points. Now you just have to look at the collection of points that you have. These are your strongest values. And in all the list, the person who loves you, the person who knows you for the most time, and your respectful grudging rival, the combination of these points, you have to pick out the most common. What are common to these? So, for example, if Parvez, could you read out the points that you got? Could you read out the points that you got common, like what did the person love the most about you? What did they think? Can you just read out?
Solving problem and
One.
on behalf
Hmm.
of colleague, we are sharing updates to clients.
Okay. And the person who loves you the most, like the person, what did they think about you? The positive points.
Like helping mind,
Helping mind. Yeah.
and then what is it?
The person who knows you the most, what did they find?
Yeah, doing
course.
social work as well.
Social work. So in Parvez's case, his core values are to be able to help others solve problems in the best way possible. This is his core value system. And as long as now, Parvez, what we find about you is when you're in the state of solving a problem to help someone unconditionally, at that point of mind, you will be almost invincible. This is your source of power. Just imagine at any moment, you're about to solve a problem to help someone. Just see the energy that comes inside you versus you not helping others and just doing something to get the work done. In the second case, you will not get the same kind of energy. But in the first case, you'll automatically feel pumped up because that is your core value system. Now, why the autobiography exercise is done is once you know your core value system, every point of life when you're in a dilemma, when you want to take a decision or you want to make a choice, you have to get into an associated state of only feeling your core value system. Like imagine 100% of your thought process you are in, I want to help this person by solving this problem in the best way for them. When the moment you think that, you will get decisions very fast, you will make the right choice, and you will not feel upset whether a thing works or not because you have acted from a position of your innermost aligned power. Now, same way, let's, Abrar, can you share the points that you have got? First from the loved one.
Yeah, the loved one actually, like I feel like sharing a knowledge what I
Hmm.
have, and I also try to acquire the knowledge what they have. For example, a person is actually has been acquired some latest technology and tools and all that. I love
Yes,
to learn and adopt actually. At the
adopt
same
that.
time,
Okay.
which I have something which I've learned basically from the books and all that.
Yeah.
I will be the curious person to share and knowledge. So sharing knowledge is one thing which
So,
I always associate with
so I
me.
can say absorbing knowledge, sharing knowledge, curious about knowledge. These 3 points are from the person who loves you.
Yes.
What about the colleague or the cousin or friend? What did they say? What points
Yeah.
are there from them?
Yeah. I have also seen that some people are having the mirror memory. They're able to
Hmm.
grasp the page
Hmm.
very fast, even though if you run
Yes.
through that 20, 30 slides,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
they go back, "Kabra, can you go back to that slide?" And this is the
Hmm.
issue and all that. So I
Yeah.
wish to have that quality. I wish to have that
Yeah. Yeah.
mindset to
Yeah.
precisely remember even minute
Yeah.
things in even in the fast
Okay.
way. Yeah.
Now, this quality was, you think, is detected by your friends and colleagues or by your rival? Was this detected by both or by only your friend? This quality
Yeah.
of
Detected by my friends
mirror
actually.
friends. Now, what
Yeah.
about your grudging rival? What did they detect?
So they actually they have another qualities. The qualities
Yes.
actually like they sometimes they keep things very simple and straight, right? So
Okay.
they don't take it like vertical thinking and horizontal thinking and
Yeah.
all that. They keep it
Yeah.
simple and think. Sometimes I try to adopt that one, not going in detail to it. And
So you don't
some
complicate matters. You
yeah,
don't
yeah,
complicate matters, and this thing probably is highly respected by others,
yes,
keeping things
yes,
simple. So if I put together your value system, it is of knowledge absorption, knowledge sharing, and having the attentiveness to detail. I think you have an attention to detail where you learn very fast, and lastly, you keep things simple. These are the signs of someone who wishes to share more knowledge. Only when you keep things less complicated, you will share faster. So this is your point of power, where you accumulate knowledge and share it in a simplified way to reach to the most people. So
yes,
whenever you're in this associated state, okay, I'm about to gain knowledge and share it for the best of all, for yourself, for family, for students, that is your point of power. So the moment you're in that zone, you cannot, virtually you cannot be beaten. So this is like how for Parvez had his point of power of solving problems to help others. For you, it is attentive knowledge sharing in a simplified way. So maybe some knowledge is complicated. You will attentively simplify it and quickly share it in an uncomplicated way. So this is your point of power. So once you feel in this zone, any situation, you just think of, like, let's say you're in a situation at work where a challenging project has come. Instead of feeling stressed, if you think of this, from this project, I can acquire so much knowledge. I can simplify this challenge and I can share it with most number of colleagues. The moment you start thinking like that, you will start solving that challenge like it's a piece of cake, like it's a walk in the park.
yeah,
So
very
this
true.
is the beauty of the autobiography exercise. Every time you feel even slightest stress, you go to your source value alignment, you will be able to solve the problem very fast. This is the beauty. This is why this exercise has to be done by every student, young employee, or even a management level person, because once they know their inner values and they align to that, every decision will feel simplified in life from that on, and the stress levels will also keep coming down. So we've completed the autobiography part of NLP strategies, and now we have less than 1 minute. Can we restart the meeting so that we can then complete the
I
second half?
think the meeting will go actually as
It will
usual.
go
No
on.
problem. Yeah,
Okay, okay,
yeah, it will.
wonderful.
Yeah.
So any doubts about this? Let's get a
Yeah,
feedback.
actually,
Any
like
doubt
only
about
one
doing
question
this?
I had actually.
Yeah, yeah,
Some people say that
yeah,
whatever the strength
yeah,
you have, you write it
yeah,
down every time, and you deeply
yeah,
reflect every day. And what are the
yeah,
qualities you wanted to acquire further, or fine tune,
yeah,
or continually
yeah,
grow? Like you also
yeah.
jot down that also as well. You have a strength
Yes,
and you have a fine tune areas. And what's
yes.
your views actually? How far it is true, and will that be
That will
beneficial?
work. Again, it'll be, yeah,
So the question which I was asking
yeah,
is,
yeah,
some people, they wanted to write down all their strength, for example, good at
mm,
presentation, so on, whatever
yeah,
the best qualities.
yeah.
And then they also jot down the things which they wanted to fine tune and improve upon, right?
Okay, okay,
Is that very helpful? Is that true?
okay.
Should we follow that? Yeah. That was my
It
question.
it it will be helpful if and only if the other skills that you wish to acquire align with your core value system. Now, let's have an example here. Now, you have a core value system of collecting knowledge, simplifying it, and sharing with as many people as possible, especially by having attention to detail of getting all the important aspects of the knowledge. Now, let's say someone says that, Abrar, why don't you learn a new language? Let's say learn Chinese. It will be a good skill for you. Now, does learning Chinese align with increasing knowledge? I think it does. So as long as it aligns with that, you will shine in acquiring that knowledge. But let's say someone says that, Abrar, why don't you go and play billiards or, learn snooker or something? No, that's a physical skill. You may like to relax in that. But should you put so much energy in learning it like a semi-professional or wanting to play in tournaments of billiards or snooker? If it's not going to increase your knowledge, even if you put some effort in it, you will not feel happy doing that. Okay. Now, let's say instead of billiards and snooker or polo or something, they say, Abrar, why don't you learn some speed chess? It may improve or sharpen your mind. That is something that may increase your knowledge a lot because you learn about opening, closing strategies. You may improve your thinking. You may improve your concentration. So since that aligns, you will feel happy learning that, whether you learn it much or not. So as long as you think from the filter of your core strength, it is okay to even jot down certain things that you lack and improve upon it. But if they don't align, it's a mistake for us to waste our time on that because it will not make us happy. So a lot of your years of productive time can be saved by doing the autobiography exercise and knowing who you are at your core person.
Okay, very, very balanced and response answer. Thank you so much. Yeah. So,
any questions, Parvez?
Parvez, from your side, any questions?
No,
Yeah.
no,
Clear?
Tameem, no question
Wonderful.
from my side.
Wonderful. So now we come to the second part of the fundamentals. We know the states, we know the autobiography, we know our inner values, we know about associated, dissociated state. Now we see something called the NLP strategies. The NLP strategies is about how we store memories in our from whatever experience we have. Fundamentally, human beings, all of us, complete 8 billion of us, we are either visual, where we see things and prefer visual inputs, or we are auditory. We like to hear and note down what we listen to, whether it's outside or our own inner voice. Third, touch. Touch is called kinesthetic. So visual, auditory, kinesthetic. Now, in this, visual is, if you see from TV or we see from outside, that is called visual external. It's coming from outside into our eyes and going into our brain. Sometimes we close our eyes and we imagine something. That is visual internal. That is from our sum total experiences, or the brain itself is capable of creating new images. So that is visual internal. Now, visual external is written as capital V and small e. And visual internal is written as capital V and small I. So that's the way we jot down the strategies. Likewise, auditory external, AE. It means the sound and voices that we hear outside. And auditory internal is our own inner voice that speaks to us. Like, should we do this or not? And maybe not, like that. That's the inner voice. Or the sounds that we think of inside. Maybe it's a song that we recall from our childhood. Maybe it's our mother's lullaby. That's all auditory internal. Lastly, kinesthetic internal, or KI, is what are the feelings we feel from inside. And KE, kinesthetic external, is when someone touches us, someone nudges our shoulder, or someone pats us on the back, or someone relaxes our head. That is KE, kinesthetic external. Now, what happens to most people is that their experiences of their best time or their most successful time follow a certain pattern. And their experiences when they're not clicking, those follow a random pattern. If we can identify what are our NLP strategies in our most successful state, we can then mimic that before any other experience and bring a high rate of success to that experience. For example, in my case, what I discovered is that whenever I was very successful, I seem to remember the audience cheering as the first. So AE, auditory external. Then I remember the scene as I saw it, which was VI. And third was my internal feeling when I was doing that experience, which is KI. So my strategy was auditory external, AE, visual external, VE, and KI. So these three are my main. So before any other experience, if I get myself into a state where I imagine that the audience is there and is asking me to proceed, where I imagine that I'm seeing the result as successful, and then imagine the warm, confident feeling. I perform better in that, whether it is sports or at work or while taking a decision. So this is the importance of the NLP success strategy. So how can we discover what is our strategies, or what did I do to do this, or what is recommended to do this? I'll just tell that in a few minutes.
Sure.
Like for this, you have to think of at least 3 top experiences in your life. Let's start with the first experience where you felt that you are a total success. Imagine, you can just share with me, when in your life, whether it's in school or college, at work, when did you feel most successful or most cherished or most like a champion? Can Abrar, can you share with me?
So yeah, so I feel
Anyone?
like
Yeah.
when I was being awarded as a quality champion, I felt the most. I felt jubilant. Actually, that's a word I can express. I felt jubilant, and because actually, like,
Okay.
there are also other colleagues who can potentially can take part, but I was being awarded, and it's
Yeah.
such a big forum and all that. That's something given me confident that okay, I think something I can go deeper to the quality management systems and all that. That
Yeah.
takes I mean,
So
that takes a deeper look.
when you were explaining to me about that experience, automatically I could see the confidence when you were describing it. That's the power of a successful memory, right? Now, when you recall that successful thing, what was the first thing that came into your mind? Was it the audience cheering you, or was it your feeling, or was it something you saw, or was it something you heard? What was the first thing that comes when you recall this event?
I just first thing which I remember was the boss is patting on the back.
Wonderful. When the boss is patting, so that is KE. You can note down as KE.
KE.
Kinesthetic external, KE.
Yeah.
What was the second thing? After the boss patted you on the back, what is the next thing about that experience?
So the clap from the audience.
AE, auditory external. Third, what next?
And
what was the third
personally,
thing?
some people came and then say, okay, why you deserve this award, and something, auditory thing.
What is again, was that again an auditory or a visual? Do you remember someone coming? Do you remember seeing them or hearing them?
Hearing them.
But that is covered in AE.
Praise about it.
That is again covered in AE. So KE, AE is solidified. After that, do you remember seeing something about that experience? Any prize, or do you remember someone smiling at you, or do you remember visualizing something when you got that?
Yes,
that
yes.
will help us.
I remember that. I remember that, the awards which was presented to me.
The award presented to you. So that would be VE. So
okay.
In a nutshell, your success strategy is KE, AE, and VE. It will be written like this. If you could just see.
Okay.
Oh, I hope I've not mirror imaged it.
Yeah.
So
it is written properly. Yeah. We are able to see it clearly. Yeah.
Yeah. So K is in capital. The small e is external. So you have no I. You have everything is externally stimulated. So what it means is, for you, any time you face a challenging experience and you feel that, can I take up this challenge or not? To go into your success strategy, what you have to do is, for that situation, imagine that someone is shaking your hand, that Abrar, you've successfully done that. Then imagine someone telling Abrar, thanks for doing that so nicely. Then imagine seeing the result. Just do that. Just close your eyes and do that, Abrar. Just imagine, for any situation now, your boss is patting your back, your colleague is telling you, well done, Abrar. I really liked what you did. And then you see the result of that. Maybe you see a nice check of 10 lakhs payment for a successful project, or imagine a gold medal. Just do that. Once you do that, what do you feel inside you? What do you feel inside you?
You feel confident, feel happy, feel relaxed.
Confidence and happy. Now, you feel relaxed, confident, and happy. Now, in that associated state of having these 3 strategies, now add your autobiography core feeling. Add your feeling that while you are solving this, you are sharing your knowledge, you are simplifying things, and you're attentively making sure that the simplified knowledge is reaching thousands of people. Can you close your eyes and do that? I want you to go into your core state. You're sharing knowledge while doing this challenge. Your now boss is actually giving you congratulatory handshake. Your colleague is telling, well done, Abrar, for sharing this knowledge so well. And you're seeing the result of the knowledge share. So many people successfully appreciating you. You're seeing the result of their, as a successful payment or applause or a medal or a certificate for attentively sharing so much knowledge. How do you feel now?
Do you feel I do much more? I wanted to continually grow, fine tune, do more, and so on.
Do you
more,
feel
right?
that you can keep doing this all day? Like you
Yeah.
don't feel tired about doing this and you feel happier doing more of this? Congrats, this is your successful state. Anytime in life you get into this state, that project you can handle with ease. This is what will make you a winner at all times. There's no more blockage now. Once you get into this strategy and once you align with your feeling, anything anyone throws up at you, you can handle it. The ideas will come. How you will do it will come to you. You will be inspired when you think about it. But you have to be in this state. The core is to be in this aligned state with this strategy of K, E, A, E, and B. There's no stopping you after this. So that's the power of the state and the strategy. Now, likewise, for Parvez, why don't you, like how Abrar shared with us his most successful event? Can you think of what was the most happy or successful event in your life?
I have received award on behalf of Wipro from Tata Capital Financial.
Excellent, excellent. Now, about this experience, what is the first thing you recall about it?
About
when you thought of this event, what's the
auditory external? They called.
Someone called you and told you about this. You remember that?
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's AE. After that, what do you remember? Do you remember seeing something or feeling something or hearing? After that, what do you remember?
I heard all audience. They have clapped me.
That's again auditory external. Wonderful, wonderful.
Of course, yeah.
After that, was it a feeling or something you remember seeing?
Nothing. That's all. They have pats on my back. That's all.
Pats on the back. That would be KE. So in your case, it's a highly intense form of auditory external and then kinesthetic external. You are not. What about visual? Do you remember seeing anything about that event in your memory or about the audience?
I have not remembered. Sorry.
Do you remember seeing anything about it? Not the external. About when you imagine that event, do you remember seeing something? The prize
all are
or something?
Appreciated. Yeah, prize.
You remember seeing the prize? If you remember seeing the prize from your memory, then your third strategy would be VI. So you would be AE, KE, VI, not VE. In Abrar's case, it is VE. In your case, it would be VI because it's what you imagine of your internal visualization of that event rather than the external visual of what was happening in the auditorium. So it's very important. This difference makes a lot of change when you are going to imagine this to pump yourself up. So now for you, anytime you want to pump yourself up for any situation, any challenge to overcome that, all you have to do is imagine that the audience is cheering for you, they're rooting for you. You can imagine the applause for it and imagine them shaking your hand for it, that you've done a good job. And lastly, imagine what you think is the result of that. It can be anything. It can be a certificate. It can be a plaque. It can be anything. It's your imagination of it, not what was given. So once you think of these three things, and now you supercharge yourself with your value alignment, you're doing this while solving other people's problems. Just do that for a minute. You're solving other people's problems. And when you're doing that, people are applauding you. You're feeling their handshakes and hugs, and you're seeing the price that you imagine for it. When you do this in your mind, how do you feel? I'm seeing a change in your body language, but how do you feel?
I feel I can do
anything
more better. Yeah.
Exactly. When you do that, you start feeling that you can do anything. Wonderful. Wonderful. Thanks for sharing that. Abrar, did you see that he was changing his body language when he was recalling this?
Yes.
This is the magic of NLP. This is the magic. There are kids who, after doing this exercise, some of them have never spoken even once on stage. They just stay silent like this probably for years. After this exercise on stage, I make them talk. For the first time in their life, they actually end up speaking. But of course, after this, there are some more exercises that I do for them. But it works like magic. That's the power of NLP. It works like magic because it's addressing our own internal mental map. It's bringing our own talents out to us into our conscious mind from the subconscious. So this is the core of our basic session fundamentals. Any doubt about this, Abrar and Parvez? Any doubt about following this strategy or something?
So actually, only one question I had. Sometime as a people manager, right?
Yeah.
We have to read different people. The people are different, and their choices are different. Their reactions are different, and so on. Right? Their strengths are different, and so on. So how to easily capture whether they're in auditory type or visual type or kinesthetic type, how to make it
there are
mind and go on.
see, for that we have to start reading people more. But generally, people, from my experience, what I've noticed is people who, when you're taking a team meeting, for example, people who put their head down and look like this, no? Like, watch my eyes, who keep looking like this and hold their hands down, eyes are going down, no? Such people are largely kinesthetic, so they
Okay.
want to be touched and given encouragement. Whereas people who come to the front and look up and see your slides, they are visual. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Now, the third category of people, the auditory, is a little tricky. They will show a reaction when you praise them or when you talk something that they like. For example, in a crowd, you should find something that most people would love. Like, you start talking about, say, pizza or ice cream, and on hearing those words, and that image is not there on the screen, on just hearing, say, pizza, ice cream, or biryani, they lighten up or smile. You can think they are more auditory than otherwise. So you have to
Okay.
keep testing this out. But
Okay.
from my experience, it's very easy to capture the largely kinesthetic person because they like to keep their head down and they look, because they're not interested in too much visual and auditory. They want to feel things. They want to get into the field and literally roll up their sleeves and get their hands dirty kind of people, which is good. They actually get a lot of things done physically, right? But people who are highly visual, they also learn very fast. So in computer programming, the visual people, they see the code, they type the code, and they get results very fast that way. And the people who are marketers, who are very good at marketing, right? They have to be very good at auditory. They have to listen to cues from the client and they have to communicate that very well. So that's how, as a HR person, once you know the strategies of people, you can allocate them also into those kind of projects. But of course, for that, they also have to work on their internal strategy. Sometimes they may not know themselves. So maybe you could give them the autobiography exercise. And once they know their talents and know their strategies, they themselves will come to you and say, I think I can do this better for you, sir.
Yeah.
They will also regain the confidence from their core strategies. So a person who has a hidden marketing talent, once they go through an NLP process, they will come to you and say, I want to be in management. I want to market this, or I want to sell this to my other teammates. Example, or like that.
Yeah. Perfect. Perfect. Thanks so much. Very, very nice response. And the typical behavior, I think we can note. And yeah, sure, sure.
Yeah.
Good response. And any other questions from your side,
But
Parvez? Do you have any questions?
No, Tameem bhai.
Wonderful.
Thanks for
Wonderful.
your valuable points. I have make it down.
Yeah,
I
please
will
write it
try
down.
to,
You can do this exercise 2 or 3 more times
of
and you get more
course.
confidence. And there are many more visualizations. When we see for the corporate training modules that we have, there are at least 15, 20 visualizations for different strategies, like for interview, for tackling a tough client, for building rapport. For all that, we can first get into a certain state, and then when we approach, our results get better. There are visualizations to help people speak for small teams. There are visualizations that help people tackle auditorium level crowds also. So all that, those who are, if corporates are interested, we can conduct for them. But for student level, it's a good start when they just follow the autobiography and the associated dissociated state and the strategies. Once they know this, they can start developing their talents further. So with that is it from my side. So Abrar, I give it to you to close the session.
Yeah, maybe one last question I wanted to ask. It may be just for the benefit of all my viewers. This may be helpful. So there is a standard called ISO 19011, that is auditing management system, and this standard it reinforces to get the information more during the audit. Right? You just observe from your eyes, observe from your ears. It says that you have to get the input from 4 sides, and only you have to speak less. Only 20% speak, and remaining 80% you have to observe, right? And now what happened actually, like this is general phenomena. Let's say sometime actually invariably that overconfident come in. You see it effect. Oh, this is not supposed to be done. Your mind try to go and stop that way, and this is not supposed to be done. But actually, that's what actually ISO standard made it very clear. You're gonna see, report, and then come back. That's all. So how do you how best we can how this can be even more better from the NLP point to support these idea, like observe more?
You have to get into a dissociated state. The moment you get into a dissociated state and imagine that you're only an observer, then the tendency to go and solve the problem will not come. Whereas people who get into an associated state, when they're observing also, they want to jump in and solve the problem. Okay. So you have to practice being an observer. First, you have to imagine being an observer, then you start actually observing. So for that, a simple exercises, you can just close your eyes and imagine looking at yourself right now. How are you looking at this show? How are you listening to me? How is Parvez listening and all that? So that becomes a simple exercise. Later on, once you practice this a couple of times, you start observing people more and objectively start observing their body language and things like that. So when you start looking at their details, the tendency for you to jump in and solve the problem will come down.
Perfect. Perfect.
So the more you observe the nitty-gritties, the more which talent you actually have. You said one of your talents is looking at all the small details and simplifying them. So the more you get into that in the observation dissociated state, the easier it will be for you to keep on observing rather than solving the problem.
Perfect. Perfect.
That is
Thank
one
you so
tip.
much. Yeah. I think this is a great input to the standard from the NLP and to the ISO 19011. So thank you so much, and I am sure that this session I really enjoyed. Personally, I really enjoyed.
We have to take this to every student in all communities. So 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th, 12th college, they have to know themselves and they have to know their success strategies to grow. Inshallah, with your channel, maybe let it reach lakhs of students, inshallah.
Yeah, sure. So once again, thank you so much for doing this. I know that you have such a hectic schedule. Still, you very obediently you yourself come in and ask it. And thank you so much for doing this. And definitely, the reward is with Allah, and Allah will give the abundance of reward. And anybody who comes through this one, and you can go through this resources on NLP, you will get a lot many positive. Your mind will be positive frame of mind, and you can achieve more and more actually. So lots of takeaways, and I thoroughly each and every minute of this discussion, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm sure that all my viewers in future definitely they will thoroughly enjoy this session also as well. So with that, thank you. Note, I just wanted to once again really thank you, and really we enjoyed this.
Most welcome. Yeah. Most welcome. Most welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
Parvez, how did you
thank
feel?
You, Tameem. Yeah, even I have enjoyed and very interesting this meetings regarding NLP, associate and disassociate, and then NLP strategies. I have taken a lot from this meeting. Thank you, Tameem bhai and Abrar.
Most welcome, sir. Most welcome.
So any final word you would like to tell for my viewers actually, especially like the NLP cannot be learned overnight, right? So it need to be have a practice and all that. Any final words from your side with that before we close up the call?
Let them keep practicing. Practice makes perfect, and let them see so much online resources are also there. So and further, if they're interested in more, they can connect with you. We can customize sessions for them, for those who want to take it to the next level. Sure. But there's so much resources, but with practice, it will become perfect.
So thank you so much. With that, we are wrapping up the sessions. Thank you so much. Have everyone. Take good care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.